Hey, how's it going, guys, today? This is Marcus from A Step Illustration. It's been quite some time since I have downloaded a video, and I do apologize for the quality. I have just received a new phone not too long ago after cracking my phone, but I'm back. I've just been working around the clock, but whenever you're passionate, whenever you're passionate about something, you're going to always take the time to prioritize your passion. So today, I'd like to present to you guys how I go about with my watercolor process. I recently purchased mixed media paper. As you can see over here, this is my other work that I'm working on right now. My other project, as you can see, mixed media by Canson. Um, I'm impressed with the results. It has the qualities of watercolor paper, cold press watercolor paper, or more so hot press, as from what I heard, it really. But I don't, texture wise, I don't see a difference other besides the fact that it's smoother. And with this painting, like I always do, I always use the reference photos, and I always place my little slant to it. And this time around, I want to place a border, but with my drawings and paintings from here on out that contains borders, I would like to add a thicker border, at least an inch for here. For here on out, I would like to do that. And hopefully you guys can see. I'm sorry about the quality, but as you can see, I start off with my reference photo, and then I sketch a few ideas out on my sketch pad. I usually bring that with me even to work, and I usually on my breaks sketch out ideas that I have. I like to capture my ideas before they're gone, so to speak. Like when they're fresh on my mind, I like to sketch them out. That's how I'm able to capture the moment of my memory, so to speak. But I like to capture the image, and as I sketch out the idea a few times, I put it on the final draft. So I've already had my reference photo. I'm just in the process of finishing this. I'm actually jumbling a few other projects. As you can see over here, this is my project that I'm working on. It's inspired by the Spanish flag and Spain. Um, and I've been there before, and hopefully I'll go there very soon as well. And it was a great experience. I enjoy the Spanish culture, the language, the food, and this is the Catalonian flag that's inspired. That's where this painting is inspired by, Catalonia. So it's a series of yellow and red stripes. I believe it's 9, if I'm not mistaken, altogether. And I'm also in the process of finishing this picture as well with my new multimedia paper, which can hold watercolor as well as acrylic and any type of wet media, and markers as well. I'm starting to become a connoisseur of personally having the use of watercolor, gouache. It's kind of in the same family as I described before, and colored pencil. They always harmoniously come together. I love those mediums, and from here on out, I like to use them more often as my main mediums of choice because they're so cool and awesome to use. I just can't get enough of them. I am also starting with, I am also learning and improving on my acrylic paintings as well, which is more opaque in nature. And I'm really enjoying that process as well. I would say with this, with the multimedia or the mixed media paper that I've recently purchased, I've also been able to use, again, as I said, some marker. And I like to reserve any type of medium that I use that's water based till the very last of the process, so I don't have to smear or damage any part of the process, because that'll be very detrimental, and obviously would ruin my paintings and my pictures. It's just you really got to take your time with this process. You really can't rush it at all. And I do apologize for not uploading many videos, as this has been a very hectic few weeks. I've been working around the clock, and I want to download more videos and more detailed tutorials in the future. My watercolor process, as well as my various processes of various mediums that I like to use, which are obviously markers and Bristol as well. That's my secondary, I would say, after watercolor / colored pencils that I personally like to use. So, as I said before, and then in future videos, I like to show in a more detailed process of how I go about doing this process. But after I do the preliminary drawing, the first part of the drawing, and once I complete it, I like having a base color placed on the paper. So as you can see on my right hand side, I used, I believe, a violet or purple variant. I forgot the exact colors, the exact colors name, but it's like a violet or a purple variant. I believe violet is more on the blue spectrum as opposed to purple, which is more reddish in nature. But I would say it's more violet, more of a light lavender like violet that I placed on here. I've used obviously reference photos, sketched out my ideas a few times. Believe it or not, the face was incredibly hard to do, and I had to draw it at least 3 times as far as my reference, and it took some time to actually get a hang of the face. It was very it was in a slight angle, which kind of threw me off a little bit. But I finally managed to get it. I'm proud of myself for doing that. Um, I've added a color for the base layer of the skin for this particular painting. I think it's called flesh tone. I really don't recommend using that tone by itself, because it looks very flat. I wouldn't do it by itself, because if you think about it, skin is a variant of yellow and orange and red. So it looks very flat by itself. So that's why I only use it simply as a base color. And as far as the hair, I'm thinking about making her hair like a dirty blonde or a light blonde. Probably more than likely dirty blonde, a darker variant of blonde. And yeah, I'll go from there. I'm thinking about using like a darker, what they call mustard yellow or cadmium yellow for the base layer. Very like uh, a very light layer of that, in fact. And as far as the background, I wanted to make it look celestial, like the night sky. I love that effect. So I added black. I've added black, some violet. I had to mix that, or purple. I had to mix that with gouache. I use gouache personally for that process. For the background, I taped the edges, and the border is obviously the width of the border is roughly the width of how wide the tape was. But as I said before, for in the future, I would love to just simply make it wider by wider tape, or simply place the tape closer to the border and draw out the border with a ruler for future reference. And I've added a little bit of pink that I made with also gouache. As I said before in times past, gouache could be opaque, or it could be as transparent as watercolor, depending on the application and the amount of water that you use. So yeah, so it's a variation of black for the outside, as you can see here, and some blue, like a light bluish color, like I would say a variation of navy blue, and some pink and black, and a little bit of violet, or purple in this case. Again, purple is more of a red variation of violet. Violet's more blue. And I'm in the process of adding white dots in the sky to simulate, or to make it appear as there's stars in the background. So yeah, it looks it's coming along pretty well. Quite happy with the results. I'm gonna add more layers to her skirt, her skin, as well as starting on the hair as well. I really want to get the background finished first and foremost, out of the way, so I could just focus solely on her, the lady that's in the center of the photo. And the very last part of the process, I plan on inking it with Micron for the very last part of the process. So this is going to take a little while. I'm planning on using larger brushes as well for larger stars, but this is for the preliminary, or the first part of the painting. But for next time, I see that I made the mistake, and there's an artist hack out there where you place your tape on a piece of cloth or your clothing to make it less sticky, less adhesive, so you wouldn't have any type of damage to your paper once you're in the process of removing it. Next time, I would go about doing this by placing less lint on the adhesive part of the tape, so I wouldn't have any effects where it's ruining the border, as you can see here. So it could be one solid line with without any flaws next time around. So that is a learning experience. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video so far, and I'll definitely download some more videos